Morning. Colin here, Kit Fox Outfitters, getting ready to step off on our crossing the desert of Anza, Borrego. I'm at the Pinion Mountain Valley staging area and getting ready to step off for our first leg to Whale Peak. I've got my pack, my water. Dad just dropped me off, and you're watching me take my first steps. We'll keep you in the loop. This is a hike I've been waiting to do for the last year. I'd attempted it with a couple good buddies, but we had to turn back for gear issues because we were heading originally east to west. Definitely changed our course for this trip with a west to east for more downhill slope. What made this really unique was the fact that it's semi-self-supported. So I was going to be carrying my water on this trip, all 20 liters of it, for a little more than 44 pounds. The first part of the trip was pretty much uphill towards Whale Peak, but between the sunrise and the amazing views, I really didn't mind. Plus, I was motivated to get up top, where it was going to flatten out a little bit, and hopefully was going to make a little bit better time headed down. It wasn't a bad hike. It was Jeep roads, relatively compacted, easy to move, so there's very little complaining on my half, especially just taking in those amazing views. So right behind me is part of Whale Peak. We've made it up to the top, and we're starting to drop down into the Squeeze, a popular jeeping off-road area. Kind of taking it in. It's still pretty cool. It's almost 9 in the morning. We've got some little bit of clouds. It's definitely warming up, but a nice breeze. I'll be dropping into the desert pretty soon. Wish me luck. Well, I might have celebrated a little bit early, thinking I was going to get to the Squeeze a lot quicker than I did. But as you can see, it definitely earned its name. I could also understand why the trail is a one-way route coming from west to east, but I was in a celebratory mood. I was on the other side of Whale Peak, and I was heading down the rocks. I was getting my first glimpses of the valley below. You could definitely see the change in flora and fauna. That road just kept on going. Now the picture really doesn't give it too much credit because that was a pretty steep way down. I was practically climbing, especially with a full backpack between my water and gear. I did take a nice little divert to Harper's Cabin, an abandoned mining camp. Although it said it was a trail, it ended up being a dry wash. So I lost a little bit of time climbing and exploring, but it was definitely worth getting off and seeing what there is to see, other than just making a marathon trip. It was getting a little bit warm. It's probably around 10:30 right now, starting to warm up. I'm deciding to take a break and get some shade. Obviously, the lower part of the desert here is not full of opportunity for shade. Opportunities sometimes have to be made. What we've got right here is a quick up sun shelter. What I'm using is a grabber all-weather blanket. That reflective side that reflects 80% of your body heat back into you when you're cold can also be used to radiate that heat away from you. These 4 rocks, I've got my thermarest under there. Use a spool tool and a little 550 cord. So what concepts are we talking about here, especially when we talk about shelter? We talk about radiation, convection, conduction, and evaporation. These things are neither good nor bad. They're just things that either make you warm or cold. Right now I want to cool down. So we've got the tarp turned around to radiate the heat away. Notice how I set it up off the ground so I can still get a breeze that goes under the tarp for that convection. I broke out my thermarest sleeping pad right there. That's going to prevent conductive heating because the The sun's been warming the sand up all day. And evaporation, I'm gonna go get in the shade right now, hydrate, and let my sweat take care of it. All right. I enjoyed a nice little break in the shade of my easy up shelter. Got a nice nap in, hydrated, had a early morning lunch, but then it was time to get back on the road. No rest for the wicked. But you know what? I was in a great mood because I was moving along. Hapa Flats was a really interesting area. Reminded me a lot of Blair Valley, another very interesting part of Anza Borrego. I remember seeing this rock and it kind of stood out to the pictograph area at Blair Valley, so I figured I'd take a look. And I was pleasantly surprised to see some worn pictographs and evidence of the original residents of Anza Borrego. Deep grinding stones overlooking the valley. It was hard not to imagine what it was like out here while people were exploring and living out here. Definitely like seeing the mountain lion sign. Well, I'm not a small child, so I wasn't overly concerned about four-legged critters. But what I was looking at is the weather. We lucked out with a little bit of cloud cover. I was definitely happy about that. And as I headed down the trail, the canyon wall started to get higher and higher. I could tell that I was dropping deeper into the desert. And taking it all in, there were some really amazing spots out there. And the views can't be beat. Towards the end of the day, I was ready to find some shade, set up some camp, get comfortable, have something to eat, relax a little bit, because tomorrow was a new day and I was doing this all over again.